Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Today is March 17th, 2022. Happy St. Patty's Day. This is the Environmental Conservation Board. We have an agenda we're going to follow. The first item is Jeffrey Frieda, 420 North Lake Boulevard, construct a dock. Okay. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How are you tonight?
Okay, so the DEC said you were okay, you didn't need, you were fine. This permit expired in September of 2020. Are there any other changes to the application?
None.
Okay,
Did Army Corps respond?
they said, if you read the Army Corps, they didn't have to do anything. The
Great.
Army said they don't need to do anything.
Great.
They said there wouldn't have to be anything, no permit required by the Corps, so
Perfect.
I'm
Okay.
assuming that. But the DEC did say that the, DEC said no jurisdiction for the project, so as long as the scope of work remains the same, the determination would still be true. Okay? All right, now the only question is, how long of an extension do you need?
I was hoping for 18 months.
So that would be September of 20 to
23, yeah.
September of 21. You're still short.
Oh, I'm sorry, so the extension would be from the time it expired, not from today.
The time it expired.
Okay, so I'm looking for another 18 months to complete the project. So whatever that is from,
Well, I'm not gonna give you a 3-year extension,
okay,
you know, and in fact, after this extension, because you've already been late, you know, you may have to refile. So, I mean, can I give you till September 5th of 2022? That's a year, that's almost 2 years.
if that's what you'll give me, that's what I'll take, and I'll have to make it work.
So do I have a motion to extend permit number 953 from September 5th, 2020 to September 31st, 2022?
So moved.
I second that motion.
Do I have, Ed?
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so you're good till the end of September this year, okay?
Okay, I have a question for you.
Sure.
So if I can't finish it by that time, do I file for another extension, or do I refile at that time?
It's a premature.
It's a little, yeah, when we find out, come back to us in July or August. If you're gonna be late, come
So-
back to us
sure,
then.
so
Sooner, yeah.
come back before it expires next time. is
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
that's always
Good
good.
idea.
Much
Okay.
easier.
Can't argue with that. One last question, if you wouldn't mind. On the previously granted permit, it says special conditions, town wetland inspector to do pre- and post-site visit for installation of erosion control.
Correct.
There is mention of a turbidity barrier.
Once that's installed, then you have that, once that's installed, you call him up
Okay,
and you say, the turbidity curtain's installed, please come out and look at it. And
Okay.
then he'll say, okay, and continue doing your work.
okay, and then I need to get him to come back when it's done. and I
When
take
you're
it-
done with the work, after all the work is completed, the turbidity curtain comes out.
Yep,
Well, before it comes out.
No, after it comes out.
He's not supposed to remove the erosion
When he's
controls
done with
until-
his work,
Until Rich says okay.
okay, then call Rich,
Yeah.
and then he'll tell you to remove it. So, because this way he's making sure nothing's floating in this lake.
okay, but I'll call him before I take it down. And if he
Yeah.
says
Yes.
take it down, I'll take it down. If he says, let me see it. Okay,
Right.
got it.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
No problem.
You got it.
Have a good night.
You too.
too.
Okay, next is Seth Haberman.
Seth Haberman, yeah. I'm
Seth.
Amanda, the architect, so I'm representing Seth for 70 Lillian Road.
Yes, 70 Lillian Road. Just
Yeah.
please identify yourself.
So Amanda Schachter, the architect for the project at 70 Lillian Road, and requesting an extension, a one-year extension.
1-year extension?
Yes, please.
When was this granted?
This was granted April 1st
Exactly.
of 2021. Let me see, I made a mistake on the other
So
one.
it's set to expire this April.
Yeah, it's set to expire. So you want till April 1st of 2023?
Yes,
Has any of the plans changed?
nothing has changed.
Nothing has changed.
1 second.
And on the permit, there was a condition of town wetland inspector to do a pre and post inspection.
Yeah, so they've already done the pre-inspection, that was done.
Well, you'll have to, are they working now?
No, they're not.
Okay, so my advice is when you start work up, have him come out
Back
again.
again.
Yes,
Perfect.
okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
The 1-year extension sheet?
Yeah. Do I have a motion to extend permit number 968 to Seth Haberman for 70 Lillian Road from April 1st, 2022 for 1 year to April 1st, 2023?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Looks like we're in the permanent extension business today.
Good evening.
Take care.
Take care. Okay, next. For the next three. Okay, so what we're gonna do is this. I'm gonna call up one, we'll vote on it, we'll do that one, then we'll do the next one, we'll do the same one. You're gonna have to announce who you are for all three. No.
Okay.
Okay. So, for the first one, number 3 is Suez Water, New York, London Bridge Wells for 39 Brook Street. Could you please state your name and who you're here for?
John Kirkpatrick, representing Suez Water, and with me is Steve Garabed, who's a project engineer with Suez Water, Ramya Ramanathan, who's the planner with Atzel Engineers.
Okay, let me just find your permit here. 39 Brook Street, okay. For this particular site, did she give me all the others? Hold on. Look. Or they're in here. Oh, man. Okay,
If I might, last time you were waiting to see if you got any public comments?
I'm just about to get to that. Thank you for reminding me. So there were no public comments or questions from the public. Has anything in the application changed since your submission a couple weeks ago?
You raised a couple of issues, and Ramya is prepared to talk about those.
Sure.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Those changes pertain mostly to the third site on the agenda, but nothing so far has changed for Guymer or London Bridge. But for Mayopac, just in advance of that, should I do that now or should I wait?
No, do wait till we get to Mayopac.
Wait, yeah, no,
This is
no,
Brooks.
no changes.
This is London Bridge Wells,
Yep,
okay.
no changes.
So then with the board, I'm going to suggest that, I would just want to vote on this right now, because there's a few of these Suez waters. I would like to go through the EAF, it's just, if there's, to agree that they're all no's, because we've already addressed it, and then we'll just sign it, we'll just vote on that, it's, everything on the EAF is no. And then-
There were a number of, for this specific site, we did have a number of notes.
What were the notes?
39 Brook Street, this is 39 Brook Street, right? Yeah.
39 Brook Street.
First was a question of whether or not there necessitated a federal wetland permit.
Yes, so we received Army Corps approval on January 10th, and the DEC approvals are contingent on New York City DEP approvals. We just received their comments last week. So the other company, the engineering firm, is working on addressing those. So we expect if we get the permits tonight, it would be contingent on the DEC permits coming in.
I'm going to make that as a condition.
Sure. that's fine.
Second item I had was a spill kit and fueling plan were noted at the time not to be either on the plan or like not included in the original file for this one. Did you include something along those
Yes, we
lines?
submitted spill and refueling plans for all 3 sites before the publication for the sites went in.
All right.
Yeah, they sent the drawings to me.
Yeah.
I had a note about
I
parking.
think I blew up my phone that day.
The SWIP,
Yes, that's been reviewed by the town engineer, so that's under the works, yes.
But it wasn't part, it's not part, they're less than 5,000 square feet.
are they part of this one? Okay. I just note. I had
Right,
on-
your disturbance is less than 5,000 square feet. right?
Correct.
Okay. Planning board approval I had in here?
Sorry, John. I'm sorry.
Are you before the planning? Is this
Yes, we are. We
before
are.
the planning board currently?
Yep.
Okay.
Do you have planning board approval?
No. We're working on that.
Gotta
We assume
wait.
it's contingent on
It's
both.
also gonna be a planning board approval contingent on.
Yeah. And then also the wetlands inspector before and after. The inspection from the wetlands inspector, checking erosion control measures after you've installed them and before you take them
So
down.
that's part of.
Correct.
So- All right, so what I'm gonna do is this then.
Mr. Chairman, sorry, what was your number on the disturbance square feet? I would like to correct myself if I gave you
I
something
think
wrong.
it's under 5,000, right?
No, it's above 5,000. It's 25,000 square feet.
So,
It should be noted on the new set of
all right,
plans
so I
you
still
received.
don't have the SWIP approved from the town engineer.
That is something that's, with the planning board and with the town engineer comments, we're addressing that actively. So we hope that would be, of course, a part of the planning board approval. They would not approve it without the SWIP going through.
So we're not going to start construction without it.
Yeah.
We would appreciate if you would make it a condition along with the planning board approval itself being a condition.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing that we asked for, aside from making sure that they're providing the proper approvals and paperwork, was wetland inspector, spill and fuel kit, checking with the federal, and then I have a note on here about parking, but I can't recall.
They were gonna park out up top and walk in or something like that.
Yeah, there's not a lot of room on this site. Was it parking once we finished construction?
Forgive me, my notes were getting, they were by the.
There were
by the-
5 of them.
Yeah, there were a number of them in here.
I sympathize. Well,
I provide a copy of the wetland permit, provide a copy of the DEC permit, spill plan, fueling plan, install all equipment on 6 mil poly,
Yes.
SWIP approved by the town engineer, planning board approval, note on the drawing that the wetland inspector inspect the silt fence prior to work and post completion of the work. Seconded by Anthony, we're all in favor.
Yeah, so sorry to interrupt. All those notes were added to the revised
I
plans you
understand-
received?
I know they are.
Yeah, yeah.
But I'm still waiting for the planning board approval, the wetland and federal.
I mean, are you expecting any changes at this point from the planning board coming out of your next round of discussions with them?
Not for this site, no.
All right, so I mean, I would like to make a motion then to approve the application as submitted with the following conditions. All right, it'll be the wetland inspector do pre and post, provide copy of the DEC federal wetland permit, provide planning board approval prior to start of work, and SWIP approval by the town engineer.
DEC, and SWIP. Approval. I'll make that motion.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion then, all right? You guys all right with
Second.
that? Oh, I gotta make the motion.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm just throwing it out there for ideas.
okay.
All right, so do I have a motion to grant permit 978 with the following conditions? No work can start until we get this information. 1, the town wetland inspector to do a pre and post site visit for installation of erosion control.
Sure.
2, provide a copy of the DEC and federal wetland permit application or approval letter, whatever they're giving you. Planning board approval prior to start of work. Have to submit a copy of that. And SWIP approval by the town engineer. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye. If there is any changes that are coming from the planning board that end up making a change to the drawings that you're submitting before that are in this complete file, you'll have to come back before us to get a reapproval.
Understood.
I'm gonna put note 5. I'm gonna add note 5 to this, is that any changes by the planning board to come back to us. All right, so then with this one, with the exception of, so do I have a motion then to grant no or small impact may occur to the short form EAF as written?
I'll make that.
I'll make that, I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chit-chat goes. Okay, next. Just want to take it off for my notes for tomorrow. Okay, next one is Geimer. Geimer. Okay, next application is Suez Water, Geimer Well, 70 Geimer Drive. Could you please state your name and who you're here to represent?
John Kirkpatrick, representing Suez Water, and with me, Rami Ramanathan, who will make the presentation, and Steve Garabed from Suez Engineering, from
Okay,
Suez
so-
Water.
The comments that we had on this one, similar. Provide a copy of wetland permit. Is it in here?
Should be, we gave a set of the communications from the Army Corps and the DEC in the initial submission packet, and the Army Corps permit remains the same. We got them on the
Okay,
10th
here's
of January.
DEC All right,
Sorry.
here's the DEC, Geimer Well. So that's taken care of.
That would just be the correspondence email chain, I believe.
This is not a permit. This is
Yes.
just a correspondence.
We also have DEP comments on this site, which have to be addressed for the DEC permit to come in, so it's the same status as the previous one.
And then, you guys are killing me.
Do you need an Army Corps permit for this?
Yes, and we have that, same date, January 10th.
You have the Army Corps?
Yeah, it should have been a part of the same package.
USACE coordination. So you're only gonna, you're providing, because they exceeded the 45 days, you
Correct.
fall into the, so what happened was the Army Corps took more than 45 days to review their application.
So it's okay.
And per the NWP 3 or whatever, because they exceeded 45 days, they can proceed.
Proceed, yeah.
Got it.
Okay, so that takes care of the Army Corps. Then the DEC, you have, they've started reviewing it, so I guess this will be an application, part of the application to get that approved. And what about the SWIP?
It's the same status. The town engineer had comments. We yet to go back to the planning board addressing all of those. The SWIP is a part of it. He's reviewing it as a part of the planning board package.
Okay, so for this one, it's gonna be provide a copy of the DEC permit. Provide a copy of the town engineer SWIP approval. What else was there?
Certificate of clean fill.
Spill plan?
Yep, that was submitted.
Yeah, that was submitted.
Fueling, spill, and
Spilling,
storage.
storage, got it.
Okay.
Wetland inspector,
Mhm.
and that's it. They have the state wetland, I mean, the Army Corps.
We also asked for
Planning
details
board approval.
on mix for restoring the area. You were gonna provide a wetland mix for restoring the area.
That's true, and that is also part of the comment, if I'm not wrong, Steve, correct me, but the DEP wanted the same thing. I think they want details on the mix. So we're working on that still. So the DEP has also requested for the same answer like yours, so it should be a part of the DEP submission package. They would be reviewing it. We're still working on that.
Okay,
I
so,
think that should be contingent, meaning if DEC ends up not asking them for the wetland mix, that either should come back before us or they
no,
should
no
be
problem.
included.
Just provide a copy of the wetland mix. You
Yeah.
can provide a copy of that, right?
No, we haven't. We're still working on that one element, and the DEP has asked for that. So we will be providing
So I'm
that.
gonna make that another note.
Okay, sure.
And just so we're clear and it's on the record here, the area that is gonna be restored with wetland mix, we looked at last time. I wanna make sure that it's clearly delineated, so if it does change, you will need to come before us back if you're changing the scope of what you will be restoring.
Do you have that map up that
Yeah.
shows where you're gonna put the wetland mix?
Where we're going to put the wetland mix, I'm not
Yeah,
sure if that's a
the
part of the plan
restoration.
right now.
Pardon me?
I don't think it's a part of the plan right now. We're still working on the
Here's the
restoration
building.
aspect of
I
that.
mean, I'm really not worried about it.
One second.
But there's a
Temporary wetland mitigation, C note.
Right,
Wetland
but
mix
we-
is wetland mix.
Oh, no, it wasn't the actual mix that, we asked for the wetland mix for the restoration area, but part of that whole conversation was what area will be restored, and then we asked.
All right. I think I have it here. The reason I'm not aware of it, because I wasn't around when this was happening, sorry about that. But in the plans, if you see, this area in black,
Yes,
that says temporary wetland mitigation.
yep,
And then again, you see, this area hatched in black
yes,
also says temporary wetland mitigation. There's a note on the plan, I'm sorry, I'm not aware where, but it references to a certain note that talks about the mitigation measure. And same thing on this side, talks about temporary
Hold it up.
wetland mitigation.
great. So,
It's there. I
so
wasn't
then,
aware of
yeah,
it.
I'm good with that. I think that as long as the plans, as it stands right now, aren't changing with regards to the either mitigation or restoration of the area that you're constructing and you're putting wetland mix, I'm fine with that. But if it does change, then you will need to come back here.
Understood. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yep.
Okay, so then, do I have a motion to grant application, permit number 979 to Suez Water for 70 Guymer Drive, Mayapack, New York, with the following conditions. One, town wetland inspector do a pre and post site visit for installation of erosion control. 2, provide a copy of the DEC permit prior to start of work. 3, provide a copy of the town engineering SWIP approval prior to start of work. Provide planning board approval prior to start of work, and provide a copy of the wetland mix upon start of work. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
When you submit this, before you start, my advice is to send Rose a email to get out to me and the board, that you have all this information, okay? Okay. Next is Suez Water, New York, Mayapack Wells, 34 Coventry Circle. There were no questions or comments from the public. And we have to fill out the application and sign it. The notes that we had the last time were Federal Army Corps of Engineer permit,
Same status. January 10th, their 45-day period lapsed, so we got it.
so you got
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
State?
Same thing, we have to address DEP comments for the state to give us the approval
SWIP by the town
with the
engineer.
town engineer under planning board review.
Spill plan, fueling plan, 6 mil poly, planning board approval,
Pending, still working on that.
and then provide a restoration plan of all areas that are not getting gravel and ensure areas are restored to equal or better conditions.
Yeah, I believe if it was in that plan, it should be on this as well.
And a
but-
letter of certified
sure.
clean fill.
Yeah, that note was added about the clean fill.
So the federal, you're good, so provide a copy.
Yeah, it's on sheet number 5. It marks the temporary wetland mitigation area, same like the previous plan.
Okay.
Just one update on the site whenever
Did
everybody's
you
ready.
change the plans?
It will be changing, but in a good way. We're reducing the limit of disturbance for this site is because it was over, just a tad bit over 2 acres, and we had to provide other kinds of permanent mitigations for DEP thresholds. So we're going to rework the limit of disturbance,
But if
reduce
you're
it.
gonna rework the limits of disturbance and everything, how do I give you a permit if you're changing the plans? I didn't approve those plans.
I understand. We wanted to update you regardless that this is
Okay,
something
so-
we're working on.
So the plans that went out and the notice that went out were on the old plans, right?
Yes, those would carry forward to the new ones as well, but we're reducing from 2 acres, we're trying to come down to 1 acre, so to be
And
under
what do the
this.
plans that are in the file right now show? 2 acres or 1 acre?
Yes, 2 acres.
Okay, so you're gonna have to resubmit.
Okay, I understand.
You're gonna have to resubmit. All right? I mean, I'm not,
Okay.
And I assume that would entail the republication and the 30-day period
you'll have to
again?
give everything.
Okay,
So the intention of the notification is that we have a complete file, and someone from the public can review the file and make comments on the plans as it stands before it gets approved.
yeah.
So So when we have a change of, if there's any sort of material change, and this is a pretty big material change, aside from adding a note that we weren't, you know, we can have you add additional comments and stuff as an email or letter.
Yeah, I mean,
but
if,
this is a
if
different
everything
plan.
had stayed the same, you know, I gave you a lot of latitude on these other two, because I understand you have to get these, you know, I don't want to affect people's drinking water. But if you're changing, significantly changing the plans, I can't.
It'll be improving for the better, but we
Well,
understand.
That's
Good.
great.
We understand, yeah.
You know, but, you know. All right, so you'll have to come back for Mayapack Wells. The other two are approved. You come in on Monday, you can sign them and get your permits. But then you have to give us all the other information that we requested, right?
Sure.
All right?
Thank you so much. Have a good
Thank
evening.
you. Have a nice weekend.
You too.
Drive safe. Okay, next item, Louis Posado, 24 Wood Street. No takers, huh? All right, well, he's just here for a permit, I think. Yep.
Proposed addition, but we did have a whole bunch of stuff from last time.
Application form, copy of deed, location and map, short EAF.
He had to provide some new stuff on his plan, I think. Did he? Did I miss that?
Yeah, I have, I mean, we can go through this real fast, because it's here if we have to.
I don't think we can approve
Rich
it.
said, Rich from the board, there's nobody here for Louis Posado. We're gonna go through and approve. This is a proposed addition. Chairman Log Environmental Conservation Board is requested by the town of Carmel. The engineering department has reviewed the proposed rain garden calcs on the site submitted on the reference project. This involves the creation of a rain garden to collect and treat the runoff on the proposed site. The rain garden details contained on the plans and design calcs are in conformance with New York State DEC. I trust this is adequate, okay? And then this one, I mean, can we approve this even though he's not here?
When was
If
this?
there's nothing
when
outstanding,
did-
we possibly could.
Yeah.
When
but-
was this accepted as complete?
February 22nd,
It was, okay.
January 25th.
I must not have been here. February 8th. Oh, no, it was, okay, my mistake.
So he did
I
the
had it- I had it out of
application.
order.
He gave us a copy of the deed,
Yep.
gave us a copy.
Rain garden calcs need to be approved, that was the only thing I had.
No, he didn't
Okay.
give me, here's a copy of the deed. Location map at 1 inch equals 2,000, which is this. Project narrative. And short EAF. Proposed project details construction in addition to an existing family home. The addition is project. And can we approve this without him here?
I think we could.
As long as we don't have
If
any
there's
questions.
Nothing outstanding.
If there's any
Excavation,
outstanding
construction, or framing, final inspection, removal of silt fence upon receipt of clearance from the town of Carmel. Project located 100-foot buffer area of a locally regulated wetland, hence the need for a wetland permit. I mean, if you guys are all right with it, I mean, it's not rocket science here. He's adding a little addition.
I'm fine with it. He met all of our conditions last time. I don't have any further questions personally.
Okay, so then do I have a motion? Hold on, too much paperwork here.
We have-
This.
Ah.
Ah. All right, so do I have a motion to grant permit number, wait a minute, before I go ahead, and do this, I gotta just find the paperwork, give me a second. Okay, there were no comments from the public. Rich's email proving the calculations is submitted. Fill the AF, sign the permit. So do I have a motion to grant permit number 976 to Louis Posado, 24 Wood Street, Mayapack, New York, with the following conditions. One, that the town wetland inspector do a pre and post site visit for the installation of the erosion control. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then for the board, I'm gonna say for all short environmental assessment forms, no to all the items. Do I have, make a motion to check no for all the items? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's done. Oops. Okay, next. Fatmir Osmanaj, I'll just call Jack Carrell, how's that? Hold on, where is this one? Fatmir. Okay, were there any changes to your drawings? Can you please state your name, who you're here to represent?
John Carell, I represent Fatmir Osmanaj, Barrett Hill Road. We darkened up the wetlands flags and showed the whole wetlands, 100-foot setback. We added some notes about the amount of disturbance in the wetland setback because of the demolition of the two barns and the existing building, the existing single-family house. And those were the only, those changes were submitted.
None of those changes are like, you didn't change none of that was changing to the scope of the project, that was all just notes about the existing,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes. It's the same plans that were approved by DEC.
And there was no SWIP, right?
I submitted the SWIP to the town engineer like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago.
Okay, it's gonna be a condition, okay?
Yes, understand.
No planning board, right?
No planning board.
Okay, there was no other changes, right?
No. Other changes, no.
All right, so then do I have a motion to grant permit number 977 for 441 Barrett Hill Road to Fatmir Osmanaj with the following conditions? One, the town wetland inspector do a pre and post site visit for installation of erosion control. And two, provide approval by the town engineer for the SWIP prior to start of work. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you very much.
Do we do Geraldo next, since he's here and Mr. Hanson is not here? Or do you want to stay on?
Is Mr. Hanson here?
No, he's, I'm here.
Oh, so you want to do him first? Okay, that's fine. So do I have first to the board, do I have a motion to vote no on all the short EAFs for this project for Mr. Osmer? Do I have a motion to vote no?
So moved.
Second?
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we're gonna go out of order on the agenda. We're gonna do Mark and Denise Girolamo, 276 Westlake Boulevard, construct a two-car garage and breezeway. Okay, Jack, walk us through could you please state your name and who you're here to represent?
My name is John Carell. I'm representing Mr. Girolamo, who is here. As you stated, the Girolamos are looking to build a two-car garage in their rear yard, along with a breezeway connecting to the house. The green line is the lake high watermark, and the blue line is the 100-foot setback. Kind of the whole house in the lower portion is within the 100-foot setback. It is proposed to put in infiltration trenches underneath, on both sides of the garage, underneath the roof discharges, and they will discharge to riprap.
All right, I need some details on that, right?
You have detail, yeah, I mean, of what?
I have one sheet. I have
Well,
the hay bales to secure the sheeting.
yeah, the roof infiltration detail is here. There is a trench drain that we're putting in front of the garage doors because they have an existing problem with drainage coming off the
Okay, wait a
driveway.
minute. Are they in the 100-foot buffer building this?
Yes. The garage, the breezeway is within the 100-foot buffer.
Okay, and what's the area of disturbance?
The area of disturbance, I believe, was point, 2,000 square feet, 0.045 acres. So technically, we don't have to do any treatment since the disturbance is under
No, but then you also
5,000.
have, now you're adding the surface area of the roof and everything, so you're gonna have to provide us with either a rain garden or some sort of water infiltration.
Well, that's why I'm doing the infiltration trench. The infiltration trench is a 4-foot deep trench filled with washed gravel that will go along the, well, in this one, it'll go along the side of the garage and up along the side of the breezeway, and also on the other side of the garage, the trench drain will pick up the water coming off
Is there
of.
gonna be a pipe in that trench?
Well, it's gonna be piped to a.
Perforated trench
pipe.
pipe?
No, it's an infiltration trench. It'll fill up and overflow to the riprap outlets on both sides of the garage.
Okay,
And
but
they're
there's no piping, right?
No. It'll discharge to the riprap outlets.
Is the driveway getting bigger also?
Yes.
Okay, so then it's 2,000 square feet plus.
That includes the area disturbance includes the addition
Alright,
to
so
the driveway.
You gotta give me some calcs on the area of disturbance.
Yeah, it's 2,000 square feet. And the addition to the driveway is minimal. I think it's on the order of a,
What size is the building in the breezeway?
the building is 32 by 29,
What is it?
32 feet by 29 feet. It's a two-car garage, and the breezeway is 7 foot by maybe 15 feet. We're taking down 2 trees. There's the 2 big trees. They were saving 2 big trees in the vicinity of the,
What's the size of the breezeway?
it's 7 feet wide by about, say, 20 feet long. It's a single-story
And what's the area of the parking area that you,
that's
because it
being,
also shows here you have, it starts from Westlake Boulevard and it shows it's
so that's the
coming in on-
existing driveway.
Okay, well, then what's the new area?
It's-
You're
it's in this-
demoing an existing building too? What's the X here with the,
What?
what's this?
That's septic system. Nice location, but it's there. The additional pavement is maybe 100 square feet. It's just a little corner of the garage.
The existing driveway runs all almost to.
Yeah, the shaded area is the existing driveway. It runs all, this garage is butting kind of right up against the existing pavement. So the impervious, or the addition to the driveway is really minimal.
That's,
This construction is happening on two separate parcels, right?
Actually, there's 4 parcels, and
Right.
I went over this with Mike Carnazza the other day. Mike wanted me to add a note that says the 4 parcels will be merged, and it was always the intention to merge the 4 parcels.
Right, I
obviously.
did read that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
So that's fine, but the construction that you're asking for here, the actual building that, it's only being, like the new area, this new construction is being done on 2 existing parcels that are not, this isn't merged yet, is that correct?
correct, but they're
Okay.
under one ownership. They're
Right,
owned-
that's fine, that's
Yeah.
fine.
Actually, yeah, 2 parcels.
so I gotta see how, you have to give me the calcs on how the water infiltration trench makes up the impervious surfaces that you're doing. So, like with rain garden calculations, if you're, right now, just the building alone is, say, 1,100 square feet, to 2 buildings, okay? So that's 1,100 square feet that you would have to base your calculations on for rain garden calculation. So I know what that number is, right? Whatever 1,100 converts to, say, 100 square feet of rain garden, whatever it
Yeah,
is.
we can do either, well, I propose the infiltration
Well, I'm
trench.
fine with the infiltration, I
can-
just have to make sure that the math works, right?
I will provide that, and that would be done in accordance with Rich's review of the SWIP, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a condition of your approval, whatever. But I have not submitted this yet to Rich, and I will submit it to Rich next week.
Okay, so I mean, need calcs for infiltration. Infiltration versus impervious surface.
And so that, are you doing, I might have missed this, I heard.
You're gonna use equipment on this?
Excuse me?
You use a backhoe?
I would say no, it's just slab on grade, so there wouldn't be need for a backhoe, and the equipment would be working off of the existing driveway. And we're gonna put construction fencing and silt, no, wire-backed silt fencing along the lake.
Well, if it's
really-
working off the existing driveway, you're within the 100-foot buffer.
Yeah,
Right, so what are you gonna do? You're gonna use a backhoe, or you gonna,
no, there's no need for a backhoe.
okay, because you don't have to grade the,
No, it's gonna be a slab
Slab
on
on
grade. Yeah.
Fueling, overnight parking.
you know, it says
Yeah, I
not
think
gonna
I
use
have
it.
notes on there for that, I mean,
I know you have a concrete washout.
yep. And that's it, yeah.
Wash out, sheeting, great, hay-bales. I think that, if you do happen to store any equipment on site, that it should be
existing right now, the mechanical?
on 6 mil
He
poly.
says it is.
Proposing.
He says it is.
Or at least 6 mil poly, I
He's got
didn't
10
think I
mil.
saw a note on that. I saw 10 mil, but that wasn't about storing equipment overnight.
He's not using equipment, he just said.
Well, then we should put a note on here that there will be no overnight storage of heavy equipment.
Okay,
Either one, you can either say it will be stored on that, or you could say there will be none.
okay.
Jack, where the subsurface treatment system is, that exists now, right?
What
Obviously.
surface treatment?
Septic.
Yeah, the septic?
Yeah,
Yeah,
all right. There's asphalt down there now,
on top of it, yeah.
on top of it.
Yeah. We
Do
know,
they have access ports on that, for the subsurface treatment system?
for the septic tank they do, not for the subsurface, not for the absorption area, I mean, that,
So it's
it's
paved
underneath the
over. Okay,
pavement.
all
Yeah.
right, okay.
The leaders are gonna be going into the drainage, into the leaders from the
There
new,
will be no leaders, the roofs will shed, the infiltration,
into the
infiltrators are
infiltration.
under the drip line of the roof.
Well, how are you gonna dig that infiltration trench? You're not gonna dig that by hand.
Okay.
2x4?
Well,
Well, you're not doing
I
it.
mean,
all right, I'll put the note, the equipment will be stored on, what, 10 mil, 2 mil?
6 mil.
6 mil? Okay,
and
sorry.
then
It's a good truck.
fueling
Fueling plan.
and spill kit.
And what?
Spill kit.
Yeah, that's on there someplace. Yeah.
You have it on there?
Well, unless you wanna dig that trench by hand,
No,
now's a good time to do it. Mud season now.
okay, well, we'll give it an option, so that we'll show the on 6 mil,
And
You sure?
yes.
Because I'll let you do it by hand if you want.
You wanna dig it by hand?
You may get a better price if you use a machine, though.
Oh, geez, all right, got me.
I'm just saying. You know, this is only like my third day on the job.
Well, you're doing very well.
Thank you.
4-inch
I'm a
PVC.
quick learner.
Did you say that there was or was not going to be piping in the drains, in the,
Just an overflow piping to the riprap outlet
Riprap
from the
outlet,
infiltrator.
okay.
Can you show
I
that?
see, it's on the
Yeah,
map. I see the 4-inch PVC. Okay,
It's shown?
yes. Oh, bottom one.
Bottom one. 4-inch PVC.
Yeah, there you go. And underneath the signage. right
And
here.
who
There's the
who
riprap.
verified the 100-foot wetland? I mean, you didn't get it flagged, right?
well, the survey, there was a survey that showed the water line, and I drew in measured and drew in the 100-foot setback.
Do you have a recent survey?
Yeah, but this
'Cause, I mean,
map,
these-
this map is based on, the base map of this is based on an existing survey, which I think I submitted separately.
Yeah, it's in this, it's in there. 2021, September 16th, 2021.
All right, so the way I look at it right now is you need the calcs for the infiltration versus impervious surfaces. You need the SWIP approved. You need calcs for the infiltration, no overnight storage of equipment in the wetland or buffer.
Or on
You need
6
to-
mil.
or you have to store it on 6 mil poly, no your fueling plant, spill kit, and that's it. Does anybody else have anything? Can you get this stuff, Jack? Can you get it Monday? Or you wanna we'll just not accept the application tonight?
Well, you don't need to get SWIP approval for Monday. but-
I don't have that
And you
approval.
you'll need to submit the infiltration calcs before we can bring it back, over the,
Wouldn't Rich handle that as part of the
that's what I
SWIP,
mean.
though?
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I don't have to have it by Monday, I'm going on
No,
vacation on Saturday.
just a note on.
Where you going?
No overnight parking.
DR.
oh, nice.
Sorry.
Sorry.
It's all right.
All you would need is you'd need to submit the no overnight parking or on poly.
Yeah, you need it to
fueling
get by
plans, bulk
Monday, you
kit.
need the
Overnight. park.
overnight storage, store equipment on 6 mil fueling plant, spill kit.
Yeah.
And then the permit will be contingent upon the SWIP
Right.
submission and approval.
Okay, all right, I'll get that to you by Monday.
Cool.
All right, so then do I have a motion to accept the application for Mark and Denise Girolamo? Girolamo, sorry. 276 Westlake Boulevard with the following conditions. One, Notes on the drawings for no overnight storage of equipment, or it has to be stored, and it has to be stored on 6 mil poly at the end of during nighttime. Provide a fueling plan, provide a fueling spill kit, and need calcs for the infiltration versus impervious surface, and we need a SWIP approval. We will accept the application knowing the fact that the SWIP approval and the calcs for infiltration will be reviewed by the town engineer, and if they're not done by then we have to wait, right? You don't need planning board, right?
No.
So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much for number
All
2.
right, so by Monday.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you doing the other one too, Jack?
No, I got another one. Sorry. Okay. Take care. This is Hanson.
Hanson.
Hands. It's a big file. That's not a good sign.
It's been around before. Well, you saw this before. You issued a permit for us to go onto the property and dig deep test holes, if you remember. Oh, there you go.
What did we do?
I remember this one.
And now we're going to build a single-family house and driveway,
This is way back.
septic system. Yeah, it took a while.
All right, so the next application is John Hanson, 28 Silver. Who are you here for?
Just here for a waiver on trees. I can leave now. It's the high holy day.
I'm sorry, you're at the bottom of the list.
That's okay. I'm enjoying the conversation.
Okay. So, John Hanson, 28 Silvergate Road, please identify yourself.
John Carell, representing Mr. Hanson.
Okay, John, you want to walk us through the process?
This is the overall plan. This is a parcel on Silvergate Road, very long parcel. Wetlands in green. Well, I didn't green in the wetlands down here, but there's more down here. The blue is the wetland setback, and as I said before, you issued a permit to dig deep test holes in the area. That one's a little hard to look at, but that's the whole property. Yeah,
Different job.
different job. It's here. That's a blow-up version of the wetlands, the wetland setback, septic system, house, driveway. We're in front of the health
Are
department.
you in the wetlands?
Not in the wetlands, in the setback.
So you're in the 100-foot buffer?
Yeah, the whole thing is a 100-foot buffer. It's a 3-bedroom house. It's less than an acre of disturbance. It's in front of the health department now. We're pretty close to getting approval. Just had a couple minor comments, actually, I just resubmitted today. The water table out there was much lower than we expected. We need 2 feet of fill in the septic area, and it has a connection to the public water supply.
No, it says you're drilling a well.
Yeah, that was a mistake. That was a, yeah.
The well is to be drilled, the well is to be a drilled well constructed in accordance with the DEC, the New York State Health Department.
That was a mistake. It was a
Pump tested
carryover.
for a minimum of 6 hours.
It's a carryover from,
Well, you're gonna have to fix the drawings.
yeah, no, I know. Health department had that comment too.
What?
The health department had that comment also. My bad. But it's a connection to the water supply, public water supply.
Where exactly is the wetlands again?
Green line, the wetland is this way. And then this is the 100-foot setback.
So the green line is the start of the 100-foot, so the whole thing is in the 100-foot buffer,
In the buffer, yeah.
This is the wetland boundary.
right?
We're not in there with any grading or anything. This is the 100-foot buffer. The whole project is within the 100-foot buffer. And this was 3 lots in an old approved subdivision. And we're just building one house because you can't build more than one house.
And what are you doing for wetland mitigation?
I don't know, there's not much we can do other than planting.
So show us need to show us, this is Hanson. Need to provide a, what do they call that again?
What kind of a system, a septic system is going to be put in, do you know?
Just a standard system.
Standard pipe and stone?
Trenches,
You have
yes.
to provide rain garden
Well, we're under we're under
and calcs.
1,000 square feet, so we don't have to treat the stormwater. It's a slab on grade, and we're proposing to discharge it to the rear, to a riprap overflow. I don't
Now
know.
that soil can handle the septic water?
Yeah, it was, it was a little surprising that the groundwater table wasn't so high. But yeah, the perk rate was not great, but it was in the mid-range. I think it was 30 minutes per inch. And it's like we got 2 feet of fill. I don't know, what would you be looking for as far as wetland mitigation? I mean, there's wetlands all
I mean, you
around.
can find a spot in here for a rain garden calcs, rain garden, something.
I could do that.
I mean, that'll
We could
give a
probably,
nice aesthetic.
we could probably do something back in here.
And it's basically based on the area of disturbance. Is there gonna be a driveway to the house?
Yes, right in the front here. Shown.
Did we visit
Oh, I
this
see, it
site?
comes off of Silvergate. I see, no,
Yes.
that was a different one. I see
Yeah.
Silvergate, so it's a short, so, your calcs include the house, the driveway. Gonna be using equipment?
No, they can dig this by hand too.
Okay, good guys.
I'll do,
Awfully
I'll
tired.
put the same note. Sorry. I have the spill note on there someplace. I mean, the spill kit on there. And no fueling on site note, but
Overnight. Spill kit. You have a stockpile location? Yes. You're bringing in fill, you said?
Well, I'm not
so
gonna,
clean
Jack,
fill.
these drawings have to be, redone, because you have the well, so, I mean, this is a good start, so the next time you come in, it should be
yeah, that's fine.
a little easier, as long as you take care of all the notes.
Okay, that's fine.
Certificate of clean fill?
Clean fill, it's run-of-bank sand and gravel from an approved site, so it's special fill for the septic area.
Ed could tell you about that.
All about it. Construction sequence, health department approval.
Yeah, probably next time we come back, we'll have health department approval.
You gonna submit the SWIP to, Rich now?
Yes, as soon as I change
Planning
this.
board?
No,
No planning
No
board?
planning board.
All right,
okay,
we're gonna just put this on the back burner,
So it's just this area here? It's just this little area?
just that little
here?
area.
What are these bars? What are these, hash marked areas?
oh, that's when you, I should take those off of there. Those are from the previous plans you wanted me to show the areas, the backhoes were gonna come in to dig the deep holes.
Got
That's
it.
what that is.
Okay.
If I get that out of there, that doesn't belong.
Gonna get a new CAD guy,
Basin, drainage
Or
ditch,
helper.
shallow
or a helper.
road. All the way back. And,
All right, so we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Okay, thank you. And I'll have the other one on Monday.
Yeah, no, not Monday, we don't. Thank you.
No, he doesn't have a stockpile,
You win, you're last.
stockpile detail either.
Okay, next one is Hamlet at Carmel, 650 Stoneleigh Avenue. Waiver of tree cutting permit. Could you please state your name and what you're here for?
Sure. Ken Carney, we're the developers of the Hamlet Carmel project. We just received approval from the planning board to build 150 non-age restricted units next to Putnam Hospital Center. 75 units are going to be mixed income, 75 units are going to be market rate. We do, to protect the long-eared bat and the Indiana bat, we need to fell the trees by March 31st. So what we are requesting, the town code apparently reads that if you have site plan approval, you can fell the trees. However, my site plan approval has a couple conditions on it, one of which is two. One has to do with final DEP approval.
Which you don't have.
Well, not to interrupt, Mr. Chairman, but we do have DEP approval on the previous site. This was previously approved for 120 units of senior housing, okay? We have full DEP approval on it, and we've kept that DEP approval active every year. So what we're doing is we're amending that DEP approval to fit our 150 units. So what we've done, we need DEP approval and then to update our utility connection approval with Department of Health. So we contacted the DEP and said, do you have a problem with us dropping the trees prior to final approval because of the fact we have your previous approval? And they said, no, pending a pre-con meeting. So we had a pre-con meeting March 7th, a week ago Monday, and Mike Carnazza was there, representatives from my firm were there, and two representatives from the DEP were there, and the request was you can drop the trees in the area that is designated there. It's a 35-acre site. We're only dropping the trees on a certain, I believe,
Here's my problem, right? So you give me a map. Your name again, Mike?
what?
What's your name again?
Ken.
Ken. So you give me a map with all the red lines, right? So typically when we do a tree cutting permit,
It's not a permit, though, Mr. Chairman.
I
It's a
am-
waiver.
I understand that, but I have to have an inventory of what you're going to cut, right? So all you're showing me here is you're showing me red lines around your site map that you want to cut. Is it so you're saying the entire red area, the red marker, is the entire area that you're cutting the trees?
Can I take a look, please?
Sure. I mean, I have no problem helping to try and get this through, but, I'm not gonna go down that
Yeah,
road.
what we are clearing right now is primarily up in here and through here. This is our stormwater ponds. We are clearing up through here now.
So you're clearing everything within the red lines?
Primarily, yes.
Up there, okay.
That's a lot of trees, I guess.
This is clear cutting. They're clear cutting this whole area.
What we are doing is we are felling the trees, we are not stumping. What the DEP has requested is the trees get dropped, they don't get stumped. We are not allowed to move the trees from where they fall. And they have two requests. One, obviously, is the silk fence, and the second is if there's any tire tracks from the tire machines, they want that filled in with wood chips. What we are requesting here, I feel we're caught between a nuance, a ambiguity in the code. I have a previously approved site for 120 senior units, previously approved site that we continually got reapproved. We revised that site plan, okay? Got it reapproved for 150 units. But because all the conditions haven't been met, if all the conditions have been met, you're allowed under the code to drop the trees. But because a couple conditions haven't been met, primarily revision of DEP approval and revision of the connections for the Department of Health, the only way to drop the trees before March 31st, in order to protect the bats, is to request a waiver from this board. And we are respectfully requesting a waiver from this board. We will drop the trees. We are not going to stump the area. We are going to just drop the trees where they fall, and the DEP has signed off on this. If not, the trees cannot come down until, I believe, October 31st or November 1st, unless a biologist is there to monitor every tree being cut. But the trees are going to be cut as a component of the project. The project is fully approved and the trees are going to be cut. What we're trying to do is do it before March 31st, before the nesting season starts, for the Indiana bat and the long-eared bat.
Right. No, I get it. You know, but again, how many acres is this?
What we're disturbing, I think, is about 11 acres.
Right, so you're cutting 11 acres worth of trees, you know, and I get what you're asking, but I just, you know, it's a lot of acreage.
Do you have anything in writing from, was it the DEC?
They have something from the DEP.
Yeah, from the
DEP,
DEP.
okay.
I submitted that.
You did, okay.
I did.
Do you have any meeting minutes of the meeting you had with them recently, where you had the field trip, or?
I don't, Mr. Chairman, but I will tell you this, that Diana from the DEP, we currently have a project, we're doing the townhouse project on Route 6 here, Hidden Meadow and Somers. And Diana is very involved in that. She was very involved. We developed most of the Baldwin Place area, Muse 1, Muse 2, and Crossroads. We have a very active working relationship with the DEP, and I would not paraphrase or take anything out of context what they stated. The results of that meeting, I was not there, but the results of that meeting with my employees were just that. Those were the two main requests. They want the silk fence up. They don't want the trees. When the trees fall, when they're cut and they fall, they're no longer a danger for the bats to form a nest. That's where they stay. They're not to be moved. And if there's any tracks made with the machine, they want those tracks.
No, I understand that.
filled in.
Chips, yeah.
So I happen to have tree cutting permit here, all right? So waiver of permit, all right? The Environmental Conservation Board shall have the authority to waive the requirement that a person obtain a tree cutting permit if it finds that the proposed tree cutting is designed and will be conducted in accordance with the guidelines set forth herein, will not cause or contribute to soil erosion or flooding, and will not affect wetland as defined in the Town of Carmel Fresh Wetlands Law. And where said proposed tree cutting will not result in the cutting of more than 50 trees or more than 5 trees per acre, for said waiver, the applicant shall submit to the board written request in 5 copies, description of the proposed tree cutting, sketch map showing the boundaries of the property, and concerning the request, the board shall consider the guidelines, standards, and other requirements of this chapter, and no fee will be required. So I don't even know how many trees you're cutting here. Can you tell me the number?
Mr. Chairman, what I can tell you is we have 35 acres. So on the 35 acres, we are allowed to cut, I believe, 5 trees per acre?
5 trees per acre.
5 trees per acre. And we're disturbing, I believe we're clearing approximately 11 acres?
Right, so that's 55 trees.
No, with all due respect, I'm interpreting it differently. We have a 35-acre site.
Right. And where said proposed tree cutting will not result in the cutting of more than 50 trees or more than 5 trees per acre. So it's either the cutting of more than 50 trees, a total of 50 trees, or 55 trees. That's the way I'm reading it.
I don't see it that way, Mr. Chairman.
How are you interpreting it?
I'm interpreting it as 5 trees on 35 acres. We have looked at the code 3 or 4 different ways. We have. And,
Let me ask a question.
okay,
The red box here that you have,
yes.
how many acres is that?
It's my understanding that this area here is being cleared approximately,
So this,
that down there is
this,
not being cleared.
this,
That down there is
but-
not being cleared.
It's just this
Just these
area?
lines
This-
down.
This area, in and this area here.
Is
That's-
that-
this,
that's-
and this.
That's correct.
But then why is this red?
Well, so there's, it's the spillways.
Yeah, but it's,
Drainage?
so the drawing shows a line, limit of tree clearing for phase 1, points to the red line.
Yeah.
So to me, I mean, to me, if I'm following the red line, it's all this area, as for trees as well. And I look up here, same red line.
Yeah.
Limit for clearing, phase 1, right there.
That area south of those ponds, of those proposed ponds, that area south
Right.
is not going to be disturbed. That's not a limit of disturbance. Below those ponds is not a limit of disturbance.
So this is not being done, and this is not being done.
That's correct.
Okay, so then the area, the acreage of here, here, and here,
It was my understanding it was going to be the road coming in this area here. Now, there will be temporary sediment ponds that will be done during construction. And I guess your question is it going to be done before October 31st, when I'm allowed to take more trees down, or before October 31st? And I'm saying, the question is, your question is, do we go 35 acres, or we go whatever that number?
but your application, right, the way I'm looking at it, is your application before us right now is to cut the trees on the acres as shown in the red box here, okay? And to me, regardless of whether you have 35 acres or 500 acres, the area of acreage that you're showing me here is X. I don't know what that is. It's
Okay.
5 acres, it's 10 acres, it's 20 acres, whatever it is.
Right.
If I go by the 5 trees per acre and it's 20 acres, it's 100 trees, or 50, right? The way I read the code, it's either 50, cutting more, shall not result in the cutting of more than 50 trees or more than 5 trees per acre.
And we have a 35-acre site.
Okay, but,
Okay.
Mr.
Mr. Chairman, here's what I'm trying to do, with all due respect. I've met with the code enforcement officer. I've discussed this with the town attorney. We're trying to find a way. We're trying to find a way which is in compliance to protect the bats. I understand your concern. However, there's ambiguities in the code. There always are.
There always are.
There always are, Mr. Chairman. I have an approved site plan. Further than that, it's a revision of a fully approved site plan that was totally signed off with no conditions. It was totally signed off. For 120, there was 120 senior units totally signed off there. I mean, it's my interpretation that based on the other site plan, if you read the code says if you have an approved site plan, you do not need a tree permit. However, what I got caught up in is I have a revised site plan for 150 non-age restricted units, and it is technically a new,
An application.
well, possibly. Okay, so here we are. How do we protect the bats? The trees are going to come down.
Because your argument is it's 35 acres. I get the 35 acres times 5 trees is 175 trees.
Then we're good. And that's all, and what I'm saying is, if there are if there's 5 trees on 35 acres, what I'm saying is those other trees on the other, 20 some odd acres, we're not disturbing now. We're not taking down.
But I'm not looking at, I can't look at the sum of the pieces as the whole,
Mr.
okay?
Chairman.
Because, right, your application before,
All
your
right, the
request.
application is just for a waiver. I'm asking for a path.
Yeah, I
If you can-
understand that.
If you
You're
can show me, if you can show me a path. Show me a path where I can protect the bats so that the bats, as of March 31st, the DEP recognizes that as of April 1st, the bats possibly could be roosting. I mean, back in the old days, they said the Irish used to go to the Rockaways for the summer. It turns out the bats from Indiana now fly to Carmel for the summer. So things have changed. But the fact is, DEP and DEC recognize that, and we recognize it, and we're trying to protect the bats. That's all we're trying to do. We're not disturbing. The soil is not going to get disturbed. There is no impact. This site is fully approved, and it's going to get developed into what's approved. We've gone through the seeker process, we've gone through the environmental impact statement, we've gone through another finding statement as a result of our revision. All I'm asking for is a waiver, I only have 2 weeks left, and I respectfully request a waiver. And I don't need any other permits from this board, and I'm asking for flexibility. I believe that there's flexibility in the code. If I don't drop the trees now, I don't know what happens. I have a lot of moving parts here. So this was what was suggested to me, and I came here, as I said, on my high holy day, to throw myself on the mercy of the court on St. Patrick's Day, Mr. Chairman.
I am a reasonable individual.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll leave now then. Thank you.
I'm reasonable, but unfortunately, the math has to
Let me
work for
fast
me.
track this with the attorney.
But, Mr. Chairman, hear me out. If we could just bear with me for 30 more seconds. I'm in my own business. I started my business here. My wife and I started a business on Maypac Point in our house. And we've now gone on to build, and we have 66 or 76 employees. I lost count. I'm down here in Baldwin Place. So every day, I look at the decisions and the decision that this board has to make, and what is the result, and what is the impact. And I respectfully submit, I agree, there could be different ways to interpret the code, Mr. Chairman. But I respectfully request that look at the result. The result is this: the trees are coming down. The trees are coming down. It's a fully approved project. The DEP, our most stringent, our most stringent permitting authority, has gone there and has agreed that this is okay to do with certain conditions. And we have agreed to do that. So the result is, all we're going to do is we're going to take the trees down. We're closing on this financing June 1st. We're taking the trees down 2 months, felling them 2 months early, to protect the possibility of the Indiana bat or the long-eared bat possibly roosting in the trees. And I understand, Mr. Chairman, I empathize with you. I understand there's ambiguity in the code, but I'm asking to focus on the result. The trees are going to come down anyway. Besides, I was the last one on the agenda tonight. I sat here quietly.
Where is your
On your holiday.
plan? Where is your plan for actually taking these trees down? Because right now, all we have before us is where you want to do it, some information from the New York DEC.
What plan would you require?
So what kind of logging operation are you doing here? What kind of machinery are
Are
you
they
bringing
going in
in?
with chainsaws, or are they going in with loggers?
Are we bringing in, like, where are your trucks going to be located? Oh, you're not taking any
They're
of
not
them away?
taking them out,
Right,
it's just
okay.
falling.
Can I get that to Rose tomorrow? Because the DEP asked specific questions. They asked for, they wanted to know what type of equipment the contractor was using.
Right.
Was it rubber tire or was it track? And it's a mix. And the concern was, if it is a track machine, are you going to leave tracks? And that's where the request came in. After the trees are felled, the trees cannot be moved. That's what they said. They cannot be moved. We don't want to, wherever they fall, leave them. And if there's any tracks, we want any wood chip, we want you to
But I
create.
got that.
Okay, so I'm trying to answer Mr. Fenner's
We
question.
got, Nick's, he's got it.
I'm wondering if is the New York State DEP, sorry, are they requiring you to follow the forestry best management practices for felling trees, like the BMP guide?
I don't know. They're just doing it, I think they're just doing it just so to avoid the bats nesting.
I understand that, but, I mean, even avoiding the bats nesting, so forget about our requirements, which we have a number of in here. Are you going to be, you're talking about how they're asking you, right now, I'm concerned here that this is a blank check. So you're coming before us, you're asking us, we're gonna be taking down 35 acres worth of trees,
No,
trees here.
not 35 acres.
You're gonna be clearing trees from here, we're unsure of the total amount in this area that you
Right.
have, fine. And you're asking us to remove ourselves from this equation if in the hopes that New York State DEC is having the people who are going in here, the contractors that are gonna be hired, following proper practices in forestry.
All right, so this is what I want.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Please. If this was 2 months ago,
sure.
if I received my final approval in January, and I received my 2 conditions of my site plan, to get the revisions to the DEP approval, and I got my revised Board of Health connection approval, then I have a fully approved site plan. And with all due respect, I'm not here. I'm not here, because your code says if you have fully approved site plan. So the only distinction here is I do. The planning board unanimously agreed with my site plan. We don't get into issues. So the fact that I have to get a revision to my DEP approval and another condition, that's the only thing that's preventing me from, according to the code, being able to drop the trees. So I've done this before. I've been in this business for 30 years. I've worked in the DEP for 24 years. We have a very good relationship with both New York City DEP and New York State DEC. And I'm not going to do anything to jeopardize that relationship.
So what if we do this? So this is what I'd like to do. I'd like to, I want to see what the DEP is making you submit for them to see, for, based on your field meeting today. I'd like to see what they're.
I'm sorry, it was March 7th, a week ago Monday,
All right,
Mr.
well,
Chairman.
So March 7th, I'd like to
Right.
see what you obviously had to submit something to them for March 7th, correct?
In order to get that letter, yes, Inside Engineering submitted something to the DEP, yes. I can get that to Rose tomorrow.
Prior to March 31st.
And it's 2 weeks from Monday. So we
what
had
I'd
the
like-
meeting March 7th, we got the letter, I'm sorry, what is the date?
February 17th, they had the meeting.
The
Received
meeting
a February 17th letter.
was the letter, and we had the pre-con meeting. They asked for a pre-con meeting. We had that Monday, March 7th, a week ago Monday, on site.
This is what I'm going to propose to the board. All right, just hear me out. I'm going to propose granting the waiver with the following conditions, all right? The first condition is going to be that he provides us with the copy of the pre-con meeting he had with the DEP showing how they're planning to do the work. I also want the map corrected with the acreage of the areas that you're disturbing. And it's not 35 acres. 35 acres is the whole thing. Right now, you're doing X minus Y X plus Y equals 35, whatever it is. So, well, actually 35 minus X, and then we come up with this red area. So if you're telling me right now the swales are not being affected, I don't want to see the red lines on there. If you're just telling me you're going to just make a 10-foot path through the center of this thing, then show it. Just, it's, because the way I'm looking at it is you're cutting hundreds of trees there. I interpret the code the way I think the code is meant to be written. If it says 50 trees, 5 per acre, that to me is 10 acres. This is more than 10 acres, or about, so 50 trees would be the limit. So if it's all right with the board, that's the proposal, because I understand he wants to get the work going. And he does, but also on the other note, sir, is that you had a fully approved plan, site
did.
plan. Had, key word there. You changed it. So
Mr.
that-
Chairman?
So that, let me finish, so
Please.
that approval you previously had changed because you changed the drawings, right?
I'm-
It's a yes or no?
I wish Mr. Charbonneau was here, and I'll tell you why, Mr. Chairman. At what point does the previously approved plan become negated? And the revised plan, if my revised plan is not in effect because I haven't met the 2 conditions, did the previous approved plan that met all the conditions, did that become negated the night the planning board approved the revision? I'm not sure. That's a question for Joe. You follow me?
Right, but, I mean, I'm in the business where,
I agree. I've enjoyed this. I told you before, I enjoyed this discussion.
no, I'm from the old school where here's the plan.
I understand.
This is what's approved.
I understand.
I changed tomato to tomato. There's a change on the plan. That's not, relevant, but if you're changing from 150 units to 120 units or vice versa, that's a significant change, right? What was the original plan for? 150?
120 senior units with more limits of disturbance. Our limit of disturbance actually went down. We're
Okay, and then now you're going to what, 100?
150, but they're multifamily. The other
Okay,
ones were
but-
mainly
but see that- You
cottages.
see my, so
I-
you're
I
going
do,
from
I do.
120 to 150, even though you decreased the area of disturbance, you went up
But at what
X
point does it
percentage.
kick in? That's my question for
when
Mr.
you
Shaw.
get the 150 approved. That's when it kicks
So,
in.
but if it's approved, with all due respect, I don't have to be in front of you, because the code
Right,
says,
but you have two conditions that aren't.
right,
that aren't
so
submitted.
does that negate the other one? Because, you follow? And I've gone through this for the last 2 weeks, and I'm caught up in the nuance in the code. But I appreciate your flexibility, and I've enjoyed,
Well, I'm not flexible, but it is what it is.
well, not flexible,
I'm
I
rigid.
enjoy the dialogue.
The banter.
Not the banter, I think the dialogue is good.
So I'm gonna make.
If tomorrow morning, if I could
You can
have,
get
if
it, well, she's out tomorrow, but give it to Dawn. I think Dawn's in
I
tomorrow.
could give it tomorrow, the further question is, Monday, they have a 2-week window, and they're showing
Well, I
up.
understand that, so get it in tomorrow, even
Okay.
give it to the town engineer. So what I want is this, so, you all right? You have any
Are there any
questions?
slopes bigger than exceeding 30% in this area? Grade?
Not on the approved plan.
Check this,
Okay.
topo. 10, 12, 18.
And the
Four.
site itself, where the house,
Pretty flat.
yeah, where the house is, where the house, multifamily going is, it's a beautiful site, it really
It's
is.
flat.
It overlooks both sides of the reservoir.
Sites 9, houses 11 and 8 are on the high. They start at 480, go down to 470, so the 10-foot slope there.
Can I steal this pencil?
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion to grant the waiver on the following conditions. 1, that he provides us with a copy of the DEP field meeting with the conditions that they spoke at for the pre-construction meeting.
Okay.
Number 1. Number 2, provide a calculation on the area that they're cutting the trees in. Calc area trees cut in. Then the DEP approval. And the last item is I want the map corrected. If you're not doing the swales, I want the red line to identify where you're cutting trees.
All right, so we'll get this to Dawn or to Rose tomorrow.
All right, so if I don't get it tomorrow, I guess we'll do it Monday, but,
You'll get it tomorrow, I promise.
all right?
I greatly appreciate your time, and this is my first time in front of you. This is the first time I've been in front of you. I've worked in, this is the first time, we started the business here in 1985, and this is my first time actually working in the town as a
Oh, yeah?
developer. We've worked all over the Hudson Valley. We've developed 2,000 units all over. This is my first time working here. So I'm looking forward to it. And for this reason, not for the flexibility, but because of the constructive dialogue that we've had tonight. Greatly appreciate it. I greatly appreciate you guys being out
No
on,
problem.
on the High Holy Day. Thank you.
Enjoy yourself.
Good night. Thank you.
All right, last item is meeting minutes. Do I have, the only one I can't vote is you. So do I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes for February 3rd, 2022? The only one that can't vote is Ed.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm gonna have to write her an email in the morning. Okay, with that, do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So
Have to
moved.
accept the minutes, or what?
We accepted it. Oh,
Did it?
did
Did we
we?
vote?
Oh, do all in favor of accepting the meeting minutes? Aye. So do I have a motion now to close the meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Good night. Have a nice weekend. Bye.